Slurpy Dirt My G's, hope you're doing well. Today I want to do something a little bit different than heavy, aggressive neurofunk vital bases and stuff like that. I want to build a nice and simple, easy pad or drone together using entirely free plugins. And I've downloaded a bunch of new free plugins just recently, and we're going to use like a combination of all of them to make a pad together. So this is unplanned, unscripted, and we're just going to build one together, and I'm just going to talk shit while I build it. So I've got this little project here, and I've actually already got some sounds in here that are sort of quite atmospheric. If I go and turn these down a little bit, and then I've got a bit more breathing room to make a sort of pad that sits underneath it all, you know? So I've turned these sounds down, and let's try and make a sound that's a little bit lower in the sort of octave range, something that will sit underneath it that's a bit darker. So we're going to start off by using this free one I just downloaded called SyndtSphere, which looks sick, and it's basically the idea of it is got loads of like random presets of just like a synth, and you can just morph between all of the presets with like different percentage like ratios, you know. So let's play an octave lower, and we'll just go until we get like a sound that could be a little bit interesting, you know, and then we can come back and tweak this later once we've put a load of effects on. So I'm just gonna see if I can find something. It's a nice pitch mod on that. Yeah, some of these have a nice sort of pitch vibrato on. That could be quite useful. Oh, we're getting a bit more paddy over here. I just want to see what Dark Matters sounds like. I think something between that and... I think I like it more over here. It's a little bit less harsh in the high end. We'll try one octave lower as well. I'm going to use the octave lower around here. It's pretty classic still. So let's go ahead and just record in a little bit of that. That should be enough. We can always make it longer with like a bunch of delay and reverb, which is a lot of what I'm going to do next, because we're gonna refine this. It feels a little bit like a kind of low pass saw wave kind of sound, you know, but we're gonna really refine it now with a bunch of other cool free plugins. Yeah. A lot of times in my mentorship sessions, feel free to book one if you want one. But sometimes people always get stuck or don't know how to make a good pad, and it's quite simple, really. Like a lot of saw waves and a low pass filter will often get you a lot of the way there. You can do that in Vital as well, obviously, but yeah, here we've got this new plugin to play with, and we can go ahead and like I said before, change the kind of setting on it once we've like put on a load of new things on top. So let's start with textures, which is this cool plugin I found by, I think it's called Clark Audio or something. Let me just have a little look so that you guys can grab it. Yeah, Clark Plugins, texture effects. And so it's got a bunch of different recordings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and high pass it already, so we just get the high end texture. Turn it all the way up. And then we'll just cycle through some of these presets here. We'll try maybe, let's try the soundscape ones. It's quite nice. I like that one actually. It's a nice kind of clean white noise. And because I want to just add a bit more, I'm just going to copy it over and add another one on. So let's try something else as well, because it wasn't quite loud enough for me. So let's see what else we got then. Skateboards are always cool. Well, I've got a coffee here, so may as well go for a coffee shop, right? I like that one. We're just going to take a bit more low end out, I think. That's cool. I want to put these textures in first, so we've got some organic kind of harmonics in the high end, and then we're gonna like process that and yeah, sort of mash that in with the kind of saw wave that we've got already. So let's do that next with a distortion. So let's distort everything slightly with Ruina, and you can get some really like sort of horrible high end tones from this plugin sometimes, which might be too much for like a pad, you know. But what I like to do is whack on the Doom mode all the way up. Take the saturate down, because that's, I think, what's causing a lot of the high end. Okay, now we've got something interesting, because this is still really distorted, you know. With the blend, we can see how much of the effect we want. But I'm getting a really nice, ominous pad coming out of the sound now, so I'm going to leave that up quite high, I think. I'll just tweak a couple of the settings like the overdrive and the fold just to see what happens. I could add some movement into it as well. You can modulate things here, but I'm feeling a bit lazy. I just want to just get a nice tone and not worry too much about the movement right now, you know? So I like that. And I do think... Yeah, it's definitely better with it on. I was gonna put a slow like LFO on it, but I think I want it on sort of almost the whole time. Yeah, I like that sort of coffee atmosphere we've got going on in the background as well. So next up then, we've distorted it with the sort of texture on it. Now let's add in a Magic Dice, which is a plugin by Baby Audio, which is a free one. And this is a little bit like the Endless Smile I find sometimes from Dada Life. You can make a really long sort of reverb with it. I really like the way this sounds already. If I click the Magic Dice, it's going to actually change the algorithm and make a different kind of reverb texture. But I don't want to risk losing this one, and I really like it. And the mix is kind of great where it is, so I don't actually want to change any of that. That was sort of completely perfect for me. Yeah, because the idea with this drone and pad, it's got to be quite reverbed out, because it's got to be, you know, filling out all that space in the background. So that's really nice. So what else can we add then? If I've got any more ideas for free plugins. Obviously the Rift feedback light, we could put some delay on it as well. Yeah, let's go ahead and do a little bit of that. And just kind of leaving that how it is. It's already got a massive improvement in the stereo image, just loading that plugin up. So these are my default settings. I saved this as a default, and it's basically having the free mode on the frequency at 120 milliseconds, so it's kind of in the middle. And then, yeah, mixing it in about 25%, and then... yeah, we've got the ping pong mode, so we've just got a little bit of a left and right delayed ping pong signal coming into the sound. Okay, that's sounding great already. So let me just see if I can think of one more thing we could add. We can do a little bit of EQing right at the end, but if I've got any other free ones, there was another Baby Audio one here called Magic Switch, which has a sort of chorus effect. We could maybe blend in a bit of this chorus effect as well. Yeah, that's quite nice actually. I like that a lot. And I think once we've got this pad sort of stretched out as audio, we'll do a bit of filtering on it to essentially, yeah, give it a bit of a kind of evolution over time. So anything else I can just think of to add in as like a free plugin? I downloaded. What about the texture? No, I think that's pretty good for now. So what we'll do is we'll just have one little tweak on this SyndtSphere again and go through some other presets. Now we've got our effects chain loaded up. So I like this one already how it is. I think it's really good. So I'm just going to copy, as you just saw me, I copied it so I can come back to it in case I mess things up. So you can see, because of the effects, like they're really changing the sound like so much that the actual original sound is like not so, you don't really notice too much of the difference. If I take it up an octave just for a moment, we can maybe see if we can hear the difference a bit more. I quite like the Slem one here. I don't know why it's called Slem, but it sounds good. Let's bring it down an octave and see if it makes it... I quite liked it up at the higher octave here. Yeah, a little bit more tension going on there. So let's just take the mix down on this dice a little bit. And we'll take the volume on the coffee shop down a little bit. All right, I like that one. I like that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off with a bit of EQ because it's quite soft. I think we can really rag up the high end on this and see what happens. And I like the tension on the pad. I'm kind of hearing it a little bit more, but obviously the coffee shop's gone up quite a lot with that. So let's bring that back down again. That's pretty nice around there. So I'm going to settle with that, and I'm going to bounce that out quickly. So we've got a nice audio file out of everything that we've made. And then just to tidy things up, I'm just going to go ahead and delete that and just kind of use what we're left with here, you know. So next then, we're just gonna copy this over so it kind of repeats, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just add in like a little bit of a fade between these files here, so they're not going to, you know, get really clicky. So I'm just going to add in like a really quick fade. I'll quickly just render that out as a new one, so it's looks nice and clean. And then we've got a really long pad that sort of sits throughout our whole intro. And then all I'm going to do now, you see it all kind of fits quite nicely with everything else already. So what I'm going to do now is put some movement into it. So let's have, we could do a bit of, you can use the LFO tool or use the Duck Buddy or something like that. But let's do just a nice sort of up and down kind of motion here. I quite like that as a little rhythm already, you know. I'm going to take it down so it's not 100% volume. Okay, at 50%, so it's got a sort of a nice sucking motion to the pad now. So if I go ahead and bounce that out, you'll be able to see in the audio waveform as well. You'll see that it's you know, it's not as flat. It's a bit more pulsing now. So that's quite nice how that is there. So let's go ahead and do a final EQ on it, and maybe we'll just take out like a tiny bit of low end on a really smooth kind of curve here. And just boost those highs again a little bit. Alright, so there we have it. We've got a nice, easy intro pad made out of just a bunch of free plugins, pretty much. It's very atmospheric, isn't it? We could, again, just as easily create something a little bit more bright, just by using a higher octave, perhaps with the original synth that we used. and maybe using like a little bit less on the reverbs and things like that. But I think for this particular part of this track anyway here, I wanted some kind of more atmospheric kind of sounding pads to fill everything out here. It really sort of fills out the whole soundscape, the whole background in one sort of go. But yeah, really great free plugins that you can go ahead and grab as well. Especially like the Magic Dice. A student of mine showed me that recently, actually. I think it was my G, Daz. So big ups to you, bro. So that was really awesome. Because it's kind of like the Endless Smile, like I said before, but free. So why not go ahead and grab that? And I really like the Clark plugins textures. I'm going to play a lot more with those, and they've got some cool presets in there. And especially when you just high pass it, you can give a bit of extra organic flavor to what would be an otherwise maybe too synthetic sound. And yeah, again, that kind of synth that I got here as well, I'm going to definitely fiddle around with that more when I want to make some more atmospheric or perhaps even some lead sounds. Use the SyndtSphere, and just great fun to use the interface, really, just to play around with that. Yeah, the really good starting point. And what you got to remember is, although it might sound fairly basic and simple, as a starting point, it's going to be absolutely wicked for making leads and pads. Just make sure that you resample it and make it your own by post-processing with a bunch of stuff like distortion, chorus, textures, reverb, and things like that. But anyway, I hope there's just a little inspirational video for you guys today, how it's really relatively easy to make like an atmosphere or pad sound on your own. And if you do this, spend 5 or 10 minutes on a sound, you probably get something more close to what you want than like finding like a pad sample, perhaps, So if I'm like trying to make a drone or a pad, I'll probably be using like this method, because then I get a little bit more control over like how the tone is going to be, and then making sure it kind of fits with the rest of the elements in my track without like kind of having to search through a bunch of like pad samples, Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, my Gs. Really appreciate it. Hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and happy producing.